Cup. Dusty, can we just put up the Opta stat about Jahmyr Gibbs? Because this is just, I feel like sometimes stat companies have a contest to see who can write the more amazing stats. Okay, over his last 7 games, he's had a game with 250,
a game with 200 rush,
a game with 200 rush, a game with 100 receiving yards, 10 catches, 14 yards, 3 games with 3 TDs, a 75-yard rush, and what was the final one?
75-yard rush TV, and no one else in NFL history has ever done that in their entire career. He's done it in the last 7 weeks.
I mean,
he also
they're
just
a little
tied
specific, but
Barry Sanders
on fire
for most touchdowns before 25. I think it was before turning, maybe both.
Oh,
but
both. In his first 3 years, and he has more games. He's going to break it.
Yeah.
The rest. Of the
I haven't looked at the carries, but my guess is Barry Sanders had a lot more carries. I'm not saying he's better than Barry Sanders.
No, but he is ahead of Barry right now up to this point in their career in yards per carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, Barry Sanders has an argument he's the greatest running back ever. I'm not saying that. He's a special player, and he's a player that when they drafted, everyone made fun of him. For the record, people are like, a running back that high, like I might have been one of the people.
It's been a nice resurgence, right? You probably were. He's like smart people. Really, guys in the know, right? They didn't like it. I mean, who knew?
47
nice running back resurgence, though.
In 45 games in his career. All right, as Brew mentioned.
Yes, this is precisely the reason I felt compelled to spotlight this particular point. It's somewhat amusing that Nick essentially conceded he was mistaken regarding the draft position and valuation of Jahmyr Gibbs. However, this situation serves as a quintessential illustration of why I have personally distanced myself from the pervasive, most valuable player discourse. I find the prevailing narrative mechanics of that conversation to be profoundly frustrating. Here we have a player of Gibbs's caliber, and in the lead-up to a significant matchup, the entire conversation was monopolized by how Dak Prescott could vault himself into the MVP forefront with a standout performance. He was positioned as potentially seizing the top spot in the odds with a dominant game. Yet, parallel discussion concerning Jahmyr Gibbs's similar impact was conspicuously absent. We are witnessing Gibbs's phenomenal season alongside Christian McCaffrey, who until recently was leading the league in both receptions and rushing attempts. Gibbs himself has been an unmitigated force of nature for the entirety of the campaign. His statistical output and individual performances have been directly and causally linked to his team's victories. His performance against the New York Giants is a prime example. The collective inability or unwillingness to properly recognize the value in such a contribution is, to me, astounding. Of course, the quarterback position holds inherently greater importance in the sport's architecture. Given a hypothetical choice between Dak Prescott and Jahmyr Gibbs to start a franchise, the logical selection is Prescott. The quarterback is the indispensable cornerstone. However, we must train ourselves to look beyond that foundational truism. We cannot allow that positional hierarchy to perpetually cloud our appreciation for extraordinary achievement at other spots on the field. What Jahmyr Gibbs is accomplishing for the Detroit Lions is nothing short of spectacular. It is a breathtaking display of consistent excellence. I believe it is a significant disappointment that players like him do not receive sustained, unequivocal praise, and that acclaim becomes selectively applied based on external narratives. We absolutely engage in this pick-and-choose dynamic. The evidence is in the shifting arguments. If Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes were the quarterback in question, the dominant narrative would attribute success to their transcendent threat, their ability to distort defenses. Conversely, when there is a desire to critique a quarterback like Joe Burrow or Sam Darnold, the credit is swiftly redirected to their elite receivers, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, or Garrett Wilson. Yet for favored quarterbacks like Mahomes or Matthew Stafford, the focus remains squarely on their individual prowess, with supporting stars like Puka Nacua or Travis Kelce framed as beneficiaries rather than co-architects. The analysis remains stubbornly quarterback-centric, even when ostensibly discussing other positions. This selective framing extends to situations like that in Philadelphia, where skepticism toward Jalen Hurts led to Saquon Barkley's contributions being elevated to an almost singularly causative level, as if the quarterback's role was incidental. We consistently witness this pendulum swing of credit based on pre-existing biases toward the quarterback involved. I acknowledge the inherent complexity in parsing credit within a symbiotic sport. A quarterback like Mahomes or Stafford requires the precision and skill of his receivers to transform great throws into completions. It is a partnership. It is not as ostensibly clear-cut as evaluating a running back who takes a handoff and, through sheer individual brilliance, evades tacklers or powers through contact. The interconnectedness makes definitive judgment tricky, and I don't claim to always perfectly navigate it. However, there should be unanimous, unequivocal consensus on one undeniable fact. Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute superstar. His production exists independently of caveats. It transcends the identity of his quarterback, the performance of his offensive line, or the talent surrounding him on the roster, with players like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams. What we are witnessing is monster production. Period. I created this segment specifically because I feel this point is not emphasized with the volume it deserves. It cannot be overstated. We need to elevate the appreciation for what he is doing because it is a spectacular spectacle to behold, and it is directly translating into victories. Furthermore, what remains particularly impressive and a testament to the intelligent construction of the Lions' offense is the system's ability to generate this monumental production from Gibbs while still effectively integrating all its other weapons. Amon-Ra St. Brown remains a focal point. Jameson Williams gets his opportunities. David Montgomery has his role. This capacity to diversify while featuring a superstar is what has always rendered this offensive scheme so formidable and multi-dimensional. Therefore, even if one might dispute whether the Lions should possess the absolute best championship odds, I believe it is a safe assertion that this offense, especially in its previous iteration under Ben Johnson, with a fully healthy and peak-performing offensive line, always harbored the potential to be the most terrifying unit any defense could face. The feeling was that they could dismantle you in 1,000 different ways. It evokes a reminiscent quality to the Golden State Warriors at their zenith. The exhausting uncertainty of which superstar would erupt on a given night. Is Kevin Durant going to score 50? Is Klay Thompson going to ignite for 40 points in a single quarter? Is Stephen Curry going to be virtually unmissable from deep? Even a role player like Draymond Green might unexpectedly knock down 3 consecutive three-pointers. It creates an overwhelming, unpredictable energy where a defense is left exasperated, asking, what is even happening here? That is the exact strategic and psychological energy the Detroit Lions offense has been capable of generating. And it is crucial to understand that Jahmyr Gibbs is a massive, monumental reason for that capacity. He appears to be only improving, becoming more refined and potent. I simply wanted to vocalize my admiration for both the Detroit Lions and for Jahmyr Gibbs. But those are my reflections. I am absolutely eager to hear your own. What is your assessment of Jahmyr Gibbs and the Detroit Lions? What do you believe he has been able to demonstrate? Do you think the Lions proved anything definitive in their recent outings? Furthermore, consider the disparity in conversation. There was demonstrably more discourse about Dak Prescott's MVP candidacy contingent on a single performance than there was evergreen discussion about Gibbs's season-long brilliance. Prescott was positioned where a victory would anoint him a frontrunner, while Gibbs's consistent dominance existed in a comparative narrative vacuum. I am genuinely curious about your perspective on that particular imbalance. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. I read every single comment. Whether you find yourself in agreement or disagreement with my viewpoint, let's engage in some lively discussion and debate. Ultimately, let's enjoy the exchange of ideas about this incredible sport. Please consider subscribing. We are building a fantastic community here and would love to have you participate. I aim to foster a space where we all feel connected and excited to be involved, and I believe we are making significant progress toward that goal. Also, if you could give this video a thumbs up, it genuinely assists with visibility and supports the channel's growth. Thank you so much for your time and engagement. I'll see you next time.